the newest member of the WCRD Radio Patreon, whose support lets me do these interviews. I'm your host, Witch Bess, and today I'm talking to an absolute treasure, Eli of Roonil Wazlib. I know, I can't wait either. But first, let's get even more amped with some music. Here's The Forbidden Forest by the Swedish Short Snouts.
It was long ago when I first came to Hogwarts. We were waiting in a place that seemed strange to us. Tallest trees I've ever seen were all around me. Whispers everywhere, yeah, we were feeling gloomy. Something's in the air, here in the Forbidden Forest. Someone's over there, watching us as we grow restless. Somehow it's okay, we won't be here for much longer. Still, this could be bad. What is out there could be stronger. Darkness now surrounds us sometime after midnight. Hear the screech above, it might be birds who take flight. Look, is that a shadow lurking there by those rocks? Is there something strange or just a silent red fox? Something's in the air, here in the Forbidden Forest. Someone's over there, watching us as we grow restless. Somehow it's okay, we won't be here for much longer. Still, this could be bad. What is out there could be stronger. I don't know if I really want to be here now, yet I don't think I would dare to leave if I knew how. There is something strange in here that really creeps me out. Voices coming from the trees, I'm sure I've heard them shout. Something's in the air, here in the Forbidden Forest. Someone's over there, watching us as we grow restless. Somehow it's okay, we won't be here for much longer. Still, this could be bad. What is out there could be stronger. Something's in the air, here in the Forbidden Forest. Someone's over there, watching us as we grow restless. Somehow it's okay, we won't be here for much longer. Still, this could be bad. What is out there could be stronger.
Superstars on the reproductive scale. There's 7 children, 6 of them are male. Bill, Charlie, Fred, and George, Ron, and Jenny. Percy is still my son, but he's a total nanny. It all comes down to love, and that's what keeps me with you by my side. I'll be ready to fight you, no. For now, let's forget the world and have a romantic dinner, and smile, remembering days when I was thinner. Molly Wobbles is what you call me when we're alone together. Molly Wobbles when you say it. I know you'll be mine forever. You may not be the minister of magic, but you're quite happy with the simple muggle gadget. Fell in love with you
came all the way from Beaubaton with the way that she looked. So different than the girls here, could she possibly be what she appears? Attracting boys like flies, I can't believe my eyes. She's got to be a vila, it's plain to see what her hair and smile and eyes are doing to me. And every time I see her, I get dizzy. She's a vila. Poor Ron couldn't help but ask her out, and when she said no, he started to pout. But not everyone is so impressed. The Hogwarts girls wish she'd give it a rest. She's got to be a vila, not sure what I see. Is that pretty face hiding something that's ugly? Still, every time I see her, I get dizzy. She's a vila. Now she's got her claws sunk into Bill. Will she marry him? Well, I think she will. Then Bill got hurt, the times have changed, but Fleur remains the same. Turns out she's a lovely girl. You said t'enverrais être tout à fait une surprise. Quel vraiment pourrait aimer une Weasley? Elle peut aimer la manière qu'elle regarde, mais elle aime ses amis beaucoup davantage. Est-elle ce que nous avions recherché? Est-elle ce que nous avions recherché? She's got to be a vila, it's plain to see that her looks aren't hiding anything from me. And I'm glad that she's as beautiful as she seems. She's a vila.
That was the Swedish Short Snouts singing The Forbidden Forest, Roonil Wazlib with Molly Wobbles, and El Est une Villa by Marked as His Equal. The Forbidden Forest was a special request from WZRD's rockstar patron Jeff. He dedicates it to TK for all the awesome work they did putting together the 2021 Wizard Rock Sampler. 50 points to Ravenclaw. Let's get to the interview. Welcome to the show, Eli. I'm so excited you agreed to talk with me today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
I always like to start with a little history. How did you get into Wizard Rock?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was a teenager in the time of MySpace, and when I was like 14, I started writing songs, and I had I don't know if it's SoundCloud. I had one of the old platforms to host music. Then my friend came back from visiting Boston with Harry and the Potter's first album, gave it to me as a birthday present. And I was super into it. I loved punk as a teenager, and I was a really big Harry Potter fan, so it was sort of like some of my interests were all aligning. And then I started seeing on MySpace Draco and the Malfoys and the Whomping Willows, and there was like a MySpace group called Wizard Rock that was just like the first half dozen bands. And I found it really fun and exciting and a really welcoming community. The folks that were on there, like Matt and Brian Bradley, they were very much like, everyone should just like give it a try. Like, don't worry about if it's good. You know, if you have an idea, like share it. This is fun, you know? So I was 16 and I wrote the song Ode to Lav Lav and put that up on my SoundCloud or whatever that was. And then shared that on the MySpace group, and people were like, oh, this is great. You should make a MySpace page for it. So then I had to think of like a name. So I chose Roonil Wazlib because at the time, most of the bands had like one character as their name. So there were like at that point, there was like Ron and the Weasleys, Harry and the Potters, the Whomping Willows, Draco and the Malfoys, Moaning Myrtles. I think those were the ones that I really knew at that point. But I didn't want to choose one character. I wanted to write from whoever's perspective. And now, as like an adult trans person, I'm like, oh, and also maybe I didn't want to choose like a gendered character. Just give myself free reign to like pick anyone's perspective. So yeah, I chose Roonil Wazlib because that first song that I wrote, Ode Lav Lav, was like from Ron's perspective. But there was already the band Ron and the Weasleys, and they were super great. They were like two kids. So I chose Roonil Wazlib as like an in-joke. So Harry Potter fans were like, hey, I get it. Yeah, so the rest is sort of history. So yeah, I started the MySpace. I put that one up, and just based on like people's excitement from it, I decided to write a couple more songs. So yeah, during like study hall at school or whatever, I was like writing lyric ideas, and I wrote "My Mirror Is My Best Friend" and "Molly Wobbles," and then recorded those three at home and put them up on that MySpace page, and yeah, so it all got started.
It's amazing. All of those early songs you're mentioning are so iconic.
Thank you.
I didn't get into Wizard Rock until a little later, but they're all songs I know, I've heard.
That's awesome.
I think that's amazing how well they've withstood the years. God, study hall, that was threw me back a couple decades, terrifying.
Right? No, I was definitely a goody two-shoes, so it wasn't like disciplinary study hall. It was just like...
I spent mine working for the counselor's office, so I get it.
Nice.
Writing music would have been much cooler. So of all of your music, what is your best work, do you reckon?
I don't know. I think it all is very like sentimental for me because it's all such a time capsule of this period of my adolescence. Right now I'm 32. I had to think about it now. I'm like, how old am I? But it was like my teenage years, and for me, like before Wizard Rock, I had been dipping my toes into songwriting and performing my own like stuff with friends or at like school events. But Wizard Rock opened me up towards like a bigger world. And just because everyone was so incredibly supportive and so encouraging, it really got me motivated to just like try new things and explore new ideas. So I love listening to my original album because it's just so like quirky and weird and so very like me as a 16-year-old encapsulated in that, with my free music editing software and like experimenting with different styles and all of that. But I also I like the Putting Fluffy to Sleep EP that I did because I have some great memories of like recording that in my friend's garage. And that one was really exciting because I really idolized Harry and the Potters, and some of the first shows that I played were like opening up for them because I reached out and I was like, I love what you do and I've been doing it too. You inspired me and can I play with you? And Paul and Joe are just like really chill people. So they were like, oh my gosh, that's great. Totally. Let's do that. But yeah, I idolized them so much so that when they had invited me to like the EP of the Month Club, I was really excited. Just like as a teenager to have adults think that what you do is like worthwhile. Yeah, it felt good. So it really motivated me to like work really hard and improve the songs. My last album of A Time Turner, that one was fun. I did that one in college, so it's definitely got like a different vibe, a different sound. At this point, I think it was like, I'm like, I over edited, over produced it, like over analyzed it. But I really do love some of the songs from it. I still really enjoy playing like those guitar licks or melodies. Like Shell Cottage is one that I I like to like noodle around with still.
Did you just say that your best work is all of it?
I mean, I think my best work is just hard for me because I'm not impartial. Like, it's so personal for me. It's so much like, yeah, my own history. So I can't choose. It's like the can you choose your favorite child sort of thing. But I think I just like it all in different ways. I certainly don't like all of it. There's some of it that did not age well. Some of it that was really funny when I was 16, 17 that I'm like, cringe now. And then there's certainly things where I amplified problematic stuff from the books without really realizing that wasn't okay. Like the fat phobia, things like that.
Yeah, that's something I've really admired about Wizard Rock. We all can look back and go, ooh, some of this was not good, but we still sort of understand. And I think the music is growing with our understanding as a community of kindness and injustice.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool, though, that you can stand by all of your work just as an oeuvre. That's really neat. A lot of people have, the one favorite or this one's the best. And the fact that it's all just reflective for you, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I think like my answer to that would be different on different days. That's why I'm like, I can't pick one.
I'm okay with that. You mentioned in our earlier discussions that you've played Quidditch.
Yeah.
I desperately want to know what that was like, because I have been to one practice and it kicked my butt hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I also want to know, in fan fiction, there's this really popular concept, Quidditch muscles. Did you get them?
Not exactly. So when I went to college in 2007, I started college, and I started a Harry Potter club. There were like student clubs for different interests, and I really wanted a club for like Harry Potter geeks, and there wasn't one. So I started a club, and boy, got a great lesson in like bureaucracy in the process of that. But did like make some cool friends, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, I've heard about people playing Quidditch. Have you heard about this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I think I saw it like once on MuggleNet or something, but I don't know much. Like, let's look into it." And at that point, there weren't that many schools with teams, like maybe half a dozen, maybe a dozen, not that much. But my friend was like, let's just like throw it out there. And so they asked at one of our Harry Potter Society meetings, anyone want to try Quidditch? And they were like, what? And so we showed them the things we could find about it, the people that had been trying to play it, some videos of like matches and stuff. And people were stoked about it. And at that point, like the club was a bunch of nerds. Like we were all the Harry Potter nerds, But then the place that we ended up practicing and like having our first few practices was very central on campus. So a lot of people like walking by saw it. So people who were like a lot more casual of Harry Potter fans or not even Harry Potter fans just thought it looked fun. So we ended up like recruiting a whole bunch of people, and then the team turned into their own like club at the school. And the team far eclipsed the Harry Potter Society. I think like the max, like attendance of Harry Potter Society things were like 12, 15 people. Versus the Quidditch team, Quidditch games, like tons of people would come out for. It was a lot of fun. I say I didn't get that many, that much Quidditch muscles or whatever, because by the time the second year of the team was around, it was like a big deal. The people who were on it were way more athletic. So I didn't even make the cut. They actually went to like the World Cup and I didn't even get to go. I wasn't a good enough player. So yeah, it's a hardcore game.
What team was it?
Oh, I don't know. Well, the regular name is the Tufts Jumbos, but I think it's like the Tuffle Puffs. I think that's what it is.
That's adorable. I love that.
Yeah.
The practice I went to was with VCU's Wizengamot, and I was not prepared. That is a serious sport.
Yeah. I loved that it was all gender. Again, the egg, the person who's not out as trans yet. Now I'm like, oh, well, that's probably why. But I love just like that. It was come one, come all, And then people coming from different athletic backgrounds. So like for me, I played soccer before Quidditch, and it translates well in some ways, not in other ways. So there were lots of different people with lots of different like interests and skills, and it was really fun.
I have a dream one day of starting like a pickup Quidditch league local to where I am.
That's awesome.
Those of us who would not have made the World Cup, but think it'd be fun.
Yeah, there's one in my area. Well, I'm in the Bay Area in California. I say that. I think I went to a practice like 10 years ago, so I think they're still around. Yeah, there definitely are places where there's just like pickup Quidditch. So
I did not know that. That is very exciting.
Yeah.
Let's pause for some music. Here's Adam Warrock and Michael K. Hill with Wands Out.
What's that? We heard you messed with one of ours on the playground. Yo, this is how we get down. Slytherins. Kids are confundo with spells that we wield, but Slytherins keep that weapon close, so keep your eyes peeled. Touch the mic, it's like I cast Flag Riata on your palms. Explosive speakers and potion flasks with our wands. Come on, hominin rebellio. Oops, bullies surround me in stereo. Levicorpus to the weakest among you. Oxio, microphone, muffliata so they can't hear your cries when I choose to cast the thunder upon you. Now your tongue's got the incarcerate cast upon your vocal cords. Lang lock, your mouth's closed, now you're quiet. Magellan's when I pull your deepest, darkest memories from out your mind. True power, man, I think you should try it. More's Mordra if you wanna see those snakes all all around you. Cause you mess with one kid and look, an army has found you. Reducio your bravery, what's that you say to me? Serpent Sordia, now hiss along Nagini, sing with me. Don't you know we got our wands out? Yeah, if you don't you're about to find out. Yeah, hands up, you don't wanna duel with me. That's right, you don't look like that kind of fool to me. Don't you know we got our wands out? Yeah, if you don't you're about to find out. Yeah, hands up, you don't wanna duel with us. Slytherin got each other's backs when times are tough.
Evanesco, I said step off, yo. I blow it up spots, waving the wand expulso. Crew plays dirty, nasty as they say. Pronunculus and wipe the smile it out for your face. For starters wanna battle, better check your stance. Crescendo, flippendo, have you do with a dance. Fitted in containers, some Licio, that's enough. We made it that certain stuff and you stated there acting tough. Listen to your babbles, got me feeling kinda ill. Can't see my cool conjunctivitis for real. Stupefied, deflected, and get it again for an hour. Augmenting it now, it's time to hit the shower. Sound of your voice is like a caterwauling charm. Mike style is confringio, words doing harm. Sonorous sin, you're hearing me now. Second simper, take a bow, now it's time to be out.
Don't you know we got our wands out? Yeah, if you don't you're about to find out. Yeah, hands up, you don't wanna duel with me. That's right, you don't look like that kind of fool to me. Don't you know we got our wands out? Yeah, if you don't you're about to find out. Yeah, hands up, you don't wanna duel with us. Slytherin got each other's backs when times are tough.
That was Wands Out by Adam Warrock and Michael K. Hill, Useless by Giantess, and Enchanted Heart by the Mirror of Erised. Now let's get back to the interview. As one of the very earliest wizard rockers from the first wave, you must have some incredible memories of all the wild events the rock world put on.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I'll preface it by saying because I was really young, I also didn't get to go to a lot of the stuff because if I had been like in college or an adult, I probably would have had more independence to go to stuff. So, for example, there were times that I planned tours and then didn't end up going because I didn't have the money for it, or like I didn't have time to work on booking because I was doing, high school. So that said, oh yeah, I have some great memories. My very first show was at the Milpitas Public Library in the Bay Area, opening for Draco and the Malfoys and Harry and the Potters. And I remember they had a San Francisco show on the 2 days beforehand, and I went to it and was like totally nerding out and got a terrible sunburn. So the day that I was going to actually perform, I remember like coming straight from my job at a summer camp and like getting changed into my little cosplay, my little Ravenclaw student outfit. And I was just like, everything hurt. I'm like, oh God. But again, I was such like a fan person. I was so honored to get to like open for these people that I idolized, which is funny because now I'm like, oh, they're just like people, but they were so supportive of me as adults. And I was just this kid just trying it out. And they were like, yeah, go for it. They like watched my set and cheered and then like hung out after the show. And I was like, will you sign my things? They were like, okay, will you sign ours? Like they were just like really seeing me as like an equal. That meant a lot to me as a kid, just like, wow, to have adults think that like my ideas were like interesting. It was cool. And then I did Rockstock in 2008. That was a ton of fun. This was like Wizard Rock summer camp. I was in college at that point, so there were certainly some like parties and things like that were fun. But I think for me, it was really fun bonding with the other like Wizard Rockers. The folks who toured more, like I had known better, but Rockstock was cool because I got to meet folks that I hadn't before, like the Moaning Myrtles. And then when I was in college in Boston, I went to the Yule Ball every time, every year. It was a great time. And I remember seeing the Potter Puppet Pals live in, I think, 2007. And that was really exciting too. I was such a fan of that. I think a lot of my Wizard Rock like memories are that fun combination of being a fan of someone else, but also having them be a fan of you. It was like a mutual love thing, like it was really cool to show up and have people care about what you do, but then also be like just as equally stoked on what they're doing. Another fun Wizard Rock memory was like when I was in college, I studied abroad in Sweden for a semester. And there's a huge Wizard Rock scene in Sweden. So some of the kids there like reached out to me and they were like, we saw in your vlog that you're like going to be in Sweden. Will you play a show? And I was like, okay. They were like, but here's the thing. It's like an 8-hour train ride from Stockholm where you're staying. Will you still come? And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So like their town sponsored my train ticket. And I like went to this high school in northern Sweden and like slept over in a gym and played this show and got to hang out with all these other kids. And it was so fun. It was just really lovely to see like community, even if I'm somewhere totally new. There were people who like had things in common with me, cared about like the things I was making. And yeah, it's just like really welcoming and affirming and loving and all that.
I would love to hear more about the Swedish show. Were there other performers?
Tons. Yeah, there's a lot of bands in Sweden.
Yeah, I had Lee of Pussycat Dolores on a while back.
Awesome.
Do you remember who any of the bands were? Because it might have been Lee.
Yeah, I know Lee. Solitary Snape. Oh gosh, I can't remember, but I just remember like loving it. But that's the only one that I remember the name. Sorry if any of you are listening.
I hear a lot that there's a big difference between the East Coast scene and the West Coast scene. I don't know if the West Coast scene is as big anymore, although I think there are still a few bands out there. Did you ever notice a difference?
I think part of it is just that like the West Coast is really, really spread out. In the East Coast, it was just way, like when I was in college, it was way easier because it's like everything is within a 2 to 4 hour train ride away. So it makes a lot more sense to like travel to a show. Whereas like out in the West Coast, like going to LA, that's like a 7-hour drive from where I am. That's not like a minor thing, you know? So yeah, in terms of like who was playing shows back then, I'm trying to remember. I definitely played some shows opening for the Remus Lupins. Insert asterisks to complicated, problematic stuff. But those were always fun to me. Those shows were fun. And then I know that there were other bands. I wonder if the Parcel Mouths were, I think they were in Seattle. I could be wrong about that. But I never ended up playing a show with them because that's like really, really far. It's like a 1-day drive if you're nuts, or 2-day drive if you're going to be reasonable. So as a high school student and college student, it wasn't really in my realm. But the East Coast, it was just like very tight knit because everyone was like literally closer to each other. It was a lot easier to just like go to shows. So for example, my Harry Potter club in college, we threw a Wizard Rock show on campus, and we got the Remus Lupins, Justin Finch Fledgley and the Sugar Quills, Creepy Crisis, Draco and the Malfoys. Like it was, and then another time we put on a Harry and the Potter show. Like it was just easier to book people because they're just closer. And I think too, because like Wizard Rock was everyone's like pet project. It was no one's career, or for people who it was for a very, very brief period of their youth that it was a career, you know? But I would say West Coast and East Coast still were very welcoming, very like just joyful. For me, it was always just positivity, encouragement, having a good time and being silly and cheering each other on. Didn't matter if you were singing out of tune or had just picked up your instrument, like everyone was just down for it.
That I think is a pretty good segue, the just picked up your instrument. As someone from the first wave, what is a mistake you made or something you did that newer Wizard Rockers who are just getting into it today might be able to learn from or take something from?
I mean, I guess I have like the ethical one and then like the logistical one. So I would say, you know, ethically, I look back at some of my earlier songwriting, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. And it was definitely like my privilege on display, you know, like as a white Wizard Rocker growing up like in an upper middle class suburb. There are just things that I didn't think about and privileges that I had that I didn't realize. But just because my intentions were good doesn't mean my impact was. And so there are definitely songs of mine or lyrics of mine that I'm like, oh, I understand how that could really negatively impact someone. Like, for example, kind of joking around about bisexuality like I did with My Mirror is My Best Friend. I'm a queer person, and I can certainly see that other queer people might just be like, that's fine. But I can also see someone else who's trying to like come to understand their own identity, finding that being made as a point of humor, like really hurtful. Or like I alluded to earlier, playing off of the fat phobia from the books, like in Molly Wobbles, there's some lyrics that are about being thinner and just things that, again, like it doesn't matter that my intention was positive. If my impact was negative, then I have to own that. So I would say to anyone who's currently writing Wizard Rock or really any sort of like fanfic music, it's just like be critical of your source material. Understand that like your lens isn't the only lens, and be thoughtful and kind, I guess. And then I guess like my advice logistically would be like, don't worry about something being finished. I feel like there were a lot of times where like I didn't share stuff because I didn't feel like it was finished yet. But I feel like that is a lot of that perfectionist like white supremacy culture where it's like you have to have it perfect. And the thing that makes Wizard Rock fun is that it's just like people sharing it's all vulnerability, right? Like all of it is just take a risk, just show your thing. And I think later on when I started getting dropping out of Wizard Rock is when it started getting really produced and really like, not to knock Ministry of Magic, but just like that era where it was all about like really good recording equipment, really, really, really good songwriting. Like those are things that there's no problem with. But when that sort of like took over everyone's like fandom, for me, it took away a little of that aspect of like safety to take risks. So I would say to anyone doing Wizard Rock, make music that makes you happy and share it. And the person you should be writing it for is yourself. And like, if other people are enjoying it, then like sharing that love with them. But if you're not, you know, releasing something because you're like, oh, maybe this isn't good enough, or I need to save up for a better microphone or whatever, like go easy on yourself.
You mentioned overproducing, I think Time Turner, was it?
Yeah.
When you were in college, was this part of that?
Oh.
That need to be?
I think for me, it might not have been more about like meeting the scene's like interests. For me, it was more that like I sat on those songs for like 2 years. So I just spent too long. Like if I just did an at-home recording of them like I'd done with my first CD, like I think it would have conveyed a little bit more of the heart behind the songs that I wrote. But I really wanted it to sound like, I don't know, I thought it would sound better. But now I'm like, better is so subjective, you know? I don't know, like if I do listen to any of my old Wizard Rock, which I don't really, my dad does, but I don't often. But if I do, the ones that I love are the ones that were like one takes. Like I did this one-off song called On the Wings of a Bird that I just like wrote it and recorded it and put it on MySpace like all in the same day. And I love it. It has that sound. It's just an idea recorded, you know?
Did you say your dad still listens to your music?
Oh, yeah, my dad. Yes, he does.
Your biggest fan?
I mean, everyone, hopefully, any musician's parents are like, woohoo, yeah. But I remember as a teenager being embarrassed because I'd like go into my dad's office to like ask him something and he'd be like blaring some of my recorded songs. I also wrote like really emo music as a teenager that wasn't Wizard Rock. And he would be like just blasting that. Yeah, he was definitely at all my shows. He recorded them all. Dad, you're awesome. Yes, he's always been my my cheerleader, for sure.
You mentioned that you've written other music. What are you working on these days? Any more nerdy music in the offing?
No, you know, to be honest, my subject matter of choice is kids because, like, I have a 5-year-old, and what captures my imagination to write about throughout my life has always been sort of like where I'm at in my life. So as a teenager, it was a lot of unrequited crushes and friendship troubles and just like, yeah, I was exploring my feelings through music. And then Wizard Rock was fun because I could still explore feelings through music. They were just other people's feelings. So I could just have that layer like removed a little bit. And I feel like some of my songwriting, a lot of my songwriting like skills improved through Wizard Rock because it didn't feel so vulnerable or important to me. So I took more risks with it that I then translated into other music. And then in college, I wrote a lot about my husband, my now husband, but we were doing a long distance relationship, so that sucked. So I wrote a lot about that. And then after college, I have barely written music in the last 10 years. I think that it's just like, I don't know. It's always a way for me to express myself. Anyway, kids. So I'm a teacher. I've done a lot of music with kids. I'm usually a kindergarten teacher, so I'm usually like goofing off with kids with music. And then lately, I've started it's not a nonprofit yet, but I'm in the process of making it a nonprofit, but it's called Galaxy Community Circle. And basically the idea is that queer kids deserve to know each other and have community with each other, even if they're not in the same place. So I run weekly Zoom meetings and kids of all sorts of genders and expressions come and we're just silly together. And they usually just talk about Minecraft or, you know, animals and stuff. But I've written some songs like for them. I definitely do like I sing with them and stuff. So yeah, anything with kids. And then like my kid is 5. I've like written songs for them, make up songs with them all the time. So yeah, I haven't recorded anything in a long time, but I would say like my songwriting now is very much playful with the children in my lives. In my life. I do not have more than one life.
It's time for our final music break, starting with A Night to Remember by the Hinky Punks.
When my head turns away, I feel something I can't explain. The complex theories of your moods, calculating your thoughts in equations and proofs. What is it that you're trying to do, and why do you have so much to prove? You have taken so much from me, and you do it with a grin so casually. Now I see my life passing before my eyes. My thoughts and dreams are dropping like flies. Seconds are days, nights are long. Every breath is numbered through my lungs. What will I do for the rest of the night?
out so predictably. The words I hear just make no sense, speaking in tongues like there are no regrets. Now I see my life passing before my eyes. My thoughts and dreams are dropping like flies. Seconds are days, nights are long. Every breath is numbered through my lungs. What will I do for the rest of the night? Walking to my tomb reluctantly, proving myself through my bravery. What will become of me when I pass through consciousness to reality? Now I see my life passing before my eyes. My thoughts and dreams are dropping like flies. Seconds are days, nights are long. Every breath is numbered through my lungs. What will I do for the rest of the night?
It isn't right, it isn't fair. We do the work and we prepare, but when they come for us at night, we aren't given the chance to fight. The ministry has been corrupted, our lives have been interrupted. When evil is bureaucratic, being selfish is pragmatic. Apathy reigns, it's such a trope, but we cannot lose sight of hope. We have no choice but to fight while they strip away our rights. Where is the right for freedom? There is no magic spell to save the day. There is no ritual to make this okay. It's up to us to make this right, right for freedom. It isn't fair, it isn't right. Our actions are perceived as spite when we lay our traumas bare. What's enough for them to care? Hogwarts has been infiltrated from those who claim to be educated. While their aims are warped and small, their pure blood ain't so pure at all. Our heroes gone, we fear defeated. Students tortured and mistreated. We have no choice but to fight while they strip away our rights. Where is the right for freedom? There is no magic spell to save the day. There is no ritual to make this okay. It's up to us to make this right, right for freedom. We'll make it right, we'll make it fair. We did the work and we prepared. When they come for us at night, they're not ready for this fight. Though we're scared, we're not alone. Hogwarts is our sacred home. We'll defend her darkest hour while we demonstrate our power. Friends return, the time is nigh. Time to kiss those fears goodbye. As they break through quiet night, we raise up our wands alight. This is our right for freedom. This is our magic spell to save the day. While there's no ritual to make this okay, our dedication to the fight is our right for
freedom. Write for freedom. Fight for freedom.
Vai pegar, vai, vai, vai pegar, vai, oh, oh, é só sentido ver, instigado num lampejo, despertado, bebê, que o baile parou pra ver. Vai, vai, vai pegar, vai, vai, oh, oh, é só sentido ver, instigado num lampejo, despertado, bebê, que o baile parou pra ver. Vai, vai, vai pegar, vai, vai, vai pegar, instigado num lampejo, despertado, bebê, que o baile parou pra ver. Vai, vai, vai pegar, vai, vai, oh, oh, é só sentido ver, instigado num lampejo, despertado, bebê, que o baile parou pra ver. Vai, vai, vai pegar, instigado num lampejo, despertado, bebê, que o baile parou pra ver. Vai, vai, vai pegar, vai, vai, oh, oh, é só sentido ver, instigado num lampejo, despertado, bebê, que o baile parou pra ver. Vai, vai, vai pegar, vai, vai, vai pegar.
That was A Night to Remember by the Hinky Punks, Write for Freedom from the Hogwarts Therapist, and Mertlap Blaps by Nelsonius. Here's the last of our interview with Roonil Wazlib. Where can WCRD radio listeners find you online?
Musically, I think only in archives. Thank you to folks who've done that. But personally, Instagram's usually the platform I'm on these days. So if you want to find out more about Galaxy, it's just at Galaxy Community Circle. And then I have a public Instagram, which is at OKNB. It's just my thoughts as a trans person and books I like. Definitely reach out. I think Wizard Rock as a community was a really big part of my adolescence, and just giving me confidence. And so when I do run into people who have that shared experience, it's very sweet to know that like we have this shared experience of this little world where everyone was cheering for you and no one was negative. Everyone was just like, yeah, you do you be you, do that thing, express yourself. However you show up is like, that's awesome. I wish that energy could be everywhere.
I will note that we do have Roonil Wazlib's, I think, complete music list on the Wizrocklopedia archive at wizrocklopedia.bandcamp.com. It's free to download if anyone wants to check it out.
thank you for doing that, because last year I played a show and I couldn't find any of my music, so I got it there. Thank you.
Congratulations to Amanda, the first person to guess last episode's theme of Songs from the Wizard Rock Sampler. I hope you enjoy that Cruciatus Curse download code. And don't worry, magical friends, there are more where those came from for future theme guesses. Do you have $2 Muggle a month that you just don't know what to do with? Consider checking out the WZRD Radio Patreon at patreon.com/WZRD RadioPod. If you join, you get every episode a day early and support WZRD, as well as the Yes All Witches grant in their mission to uplift queer and BIPOC voices in Wizard Rock. If you heard a song today and thought, that's kind of a bop, follow the link in the transcript at wzrdradiopod.com to pick up a copy for yourself. It's such a good way to support our Wizard Rockers, and without them, we wouldn't be here. You can say hi to me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at WZRD Radio Pod. If you're not a big social media fan, you can leave a comment on the transcript or email me at wzrdradiopod@gmail.com. And now, here's Roonil Wazlib.
As I sit here at Shell Cottage, looking out across the sea, the sun sets on the horizon, and I'm looking out, looking into me. Everyone's been hurting around me, worried for their mothers, sisters, brothers, wives, and children. Well, everyone's been hurting around me, waiting for an end that still seems so far in the distance. I look at shallow graves and think of those I couldn't save. I watch the setting sun and wonder when I will be done. As I sit here at Shell Cottage, looking out across the sea, the sun sets on the horizon, and I'm looking out, but looking into me. Everyone's been dying around me. If it's for the greater good, what separates good from evil? Well, everyone's been dying around me. I see that my inaction and stalling have gone on far too long. The dawn sneaks up on me and shows me things I couldn't see. I see the path ahead, specifically and without dread. As I sit here at Shell Cottage, looking out across the sea, the sun sets on the horizon,